Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. We have 5 non-magic card related tips to have you have a better commander game. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Anyhow, you'll figure it out quick enough here. Number 1 is don't use your commander. I've talked about this before, and I've got to say, playing the games that I have, where I have, I see this repeatedly where people build their decks around a specific commander, whether it be a Voltron strategy they're playing, or regardless, they require their commander to be on the field to win. I think that's a terrible way to build a deck, and I don't think you're going to win because when I see those situations, I target your commander. That's just kind of the way it is. So when you're building a deck, think about synergies that go in there that don't require your commander on the battlefield. Number 2, don't be a target. Don't get a reputation as somebody that's a good player. Does that sound right? It's a little bit more than that. Not just being a good player, but being I'm going to say strong player because I don't have quite the words that you would use to describe this. But if you have the reputation of always playing strong decks and always being a threat at the table, you're going to get targeted. You're going to get targeted a lot. So the only reputation that you want to have is maybe to be unpredictable at the table. We'll circle back around to this with number 5, but I think that makes sense there, right? Don't be a target at the table. Number 3, play the person, not the deck. A lot of times when I sit down at the table, I take a glance at who's playing what commander, but I really don't care. A lot of this comes from playing poker. And you play the person, you don't play the cards necessarily. Look deeply into the people that you're playing by watching the cards and what they do. And I generally don't worry about things until they hit the table. Then maybe I worry too much, but that's something else. So I don't know if that makes 100% sense, but it should. You're playing the person, you're playing 3 other people. So while you might be anxious to show off or take that person down or whatever, when you sit down, you want to keep in mind that there are 3 other people playing. There's 3, at least, other turns that are going to have to go off before it gets back to you. So it's very important to know the psychology of those other players and where they stand. And you may not be able to do this on a regular basis. You may not know every person that you play. In fact, I'm lucky enough to be able to play at 2 different places during the week. And Collector Legion, where I play on Tuesdays. I don't think I've ever played the same pod twice in 2 weeks, 2 back-to-back weeks. I don't think I've ever done that. The other place that I go, which is Game Hub, on that, there are people specifically there to play with me, I think. There are a lot of people that I do play back-to-back weeks. So there's also my core 4. There's the other 3 guys that I played with since the beginning of Commander, or since we first got the Commander product. We never played as EDH per se, but when the Commander decks came out, we played as a solid core 4. And so for those people, they do have set patterns. I do know them in life outside of Magic. And so I have very strict personality types that they fit into, and I know what we're going to play when we sit down to play. I know how they're going to play. I know what decks they're going to play. But I take those categories and generally place the other people that I play with throughout the week, throughout the month, into general categories like that. And it helps me keep track of what I should be doing, what I should be playing. Is that making sense? I don't know. Here's the other thing that I do. At least once a month, I specifically sat down with the intention of not playing for the first 5 turns. I spend that time watching and just playing. Just playing the game, just watching people, and that's it. Sometimes people question why I'm not playing, and well, sometimes my deck does stall out. But generally, at least once a month, I make it a point to not play anything for the first 5 turns and just watch the people around me. All of this stuff is kind of maybe weaving together here. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Maybe none of this makes sense and I look like an idiot. That's entirely possible. But anyhow, I watch them. I watch who is anxious to play the counterspell. I watch what they do with their hands, the shuffling of the hands, shuffling of the cards in their hand, nervous ticks. I've tried to get away from that myself. I try more and more just to leave the cards on the table. It doesn't accomplish anything moving the cards around. There's not a lot of cards that let you pick things out of other people's hands. It used to be when there was more of those cards being played, I definitely watched and I always picked from the right-hand side first, or rather I picked from the left-hand side first, because people generally put their cards in order of value from playing other card games from the weakest to the strongest. Generally speaking, not everybody, but that was something that I did. Anyhow, shuffling the cards like this doesn't really do anything, so I just try to put them down on the table and maybe focus more on what's going on. Yeah, that's number 4. I don't know. Number 5, very simple. It's make your opponents laugh. Now, the Tibalt side of me says the ones that aren't laughing with, get rid of them. Don't you want to play with them anymore because they're not fun. The nice guy that I am, IRL, says if you see somebody that's not laughing while you're playing with them, get rid of them and don't play with them. It's still supposed to be fun. The game is supposed to be fun. It's very easy to lose that idea when you start talking about financial value, when you start talking about the print runs. The best thing about Magic has always been the gathering. And so I like and try to make everybody laugh when I play. It's one of the best things I think you can do. And you get a reputation, not necessarily as being this type of player, that type of player. If you just have the reputation of being a nice guy, I think that's going to go a long way towards having more fun during the games. Not necessarily maybe getting you wins, but it will definitely lead to a better play experience for you and for those other people at the table. That's my 5 things that don't pertain to Magic cards per se, but I think will improve your game if you kind of follow those and if you try those things. In the meantime, thank you for taking the time to watch this. If you got anything out of it, please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you didn't, sorry, leave something in the comments below as far as a suggestion of topics I should cover, and I'll look forward to reading those comments. So in the meantime, thanks, and we'll see you next time.